it's Louise the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day, whatever it is you're doing and wherever it is you're doing it. So I have just sat here and recorded a book haul. So those are the books that I have welcomed into my house, into my heart. No, just into my house at the moment. And that I'm looking forward to reading. Some of them I'm chomping at the bit to read straight away. Others, it's going to take some time, but I will eventually read them. In that process, I do get rid of a lot of books. So we've just recently moved. We've moved to a slightly smaller house. It's not that much smaller, but we've got less kind of bookcase space. And so I've taken the decision to have a bit of a winnowing of the old books. Don't worry, I still have loads. And this isn't even, I mean, I still have a lot of books. These are all double. This is all double, and a lot of these double, but this is all completely double. And then I've just got loads. So don't worry. It's not that I'm kind of lacking things to read. For example, that shelf is all stuff I haven't read. Let me see if I can show you. If I move this, actually, I've read some of them at the end. And that shelf up there, that's mainly not read. That's mainly, this is quite hard, not read. That shelf, some of those I haven't read, and some of those I haven't read either. So, I mean, there are lots of books I haven't read. And then I do go through stages of going through the books that I have read and being really honest and saying, am I going to reread this? And if I don't know somebody straight away that I'm going to pass them on to, I just think let's they're going to have to go. I read very quickly, so I accumulate a lot of books. People give me books, and I buy books, and I don't have room for everything, and nor do I want to have everything. So that's another thing I wanted to say. I know for example, there are some booktubers that keep everything they've ever read, or keep as they read. The idea of getting rid of a book that they've read is wrong, and I completely understand how you can feel like that. But I'm in my mid-40s, and I read a lot and have read a lot, and I look at books and I think, I'm never going to reread you. You were fine the first time I read you, or even I really loved you, but I'm never going to reread you. And it is enough to know that I have read you without actually holding you in my hand anymore. So, yes, I've been getting rid of hundreds. So I have a selection of books here, which I'm going to get rid of in the next day or two. So I thought I would show you them so that you can get an idea of what kind of things I'm getting rid of. And you might find this interesting, you might not. Excuse me, I've just drunk that cup of tea quite fast. So this is the first one. So it's Ice by Ed McBain. This is an 87th Precinct novel. So this is a crime novel set in the 1960s. It was written in the 1960s by Ed McBain. It was an enormous series. Ed McBain and these books were, the 87th Precinct novels were one of the first adult crime books, other than Agatha Christie and Ruth Rendell and P.D. James, especially the American crime books, that I read and just loved. And I loved them, and my best friend's family read them as well and loved them, and they used to pass them on to me, and library books and what have you. And I loved Ed McBain. Rereading them now, I find them really dated. I don't know what it was. I was reading them in the 80s and I loved them, but rereading them now, I find them really dated and I struggle with them. And I remember reading this when I was younger and loving it, and I bought it for £1 somewhere. I think I actually paid £2.50 for this as a second-hand book, and it's a lovely that's faded a bit, but it's a crime masterwork series, and I loved it. But I read it, and I was like, this was a few years ago as well, and I just thought, no, I'm afraid I think my Ed McBain days are over. It really has dated. Anyway, moving on. The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Fillion. We read this as book club about 2 years ago, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. It is literary fiction dealing with mental health issues. Nathan Filer is a mental health nurse in real life, and it is looking at mental health issues and through as a literary device, and it's fine, but I didn't love it. Interpretation of Murder by Jeb Rubenfeld. This is a kind of a crime novel set with Sigmund Freud in Manhattan in 1909. I enjoyed it when I read it. Again, I'm not going to reread it. It should go to somebody else. R.J. Elroy, A Quiet Belief in Angels. This is set in 1939. Again, it's a crime book. I kind of liked it. I do like R.J. Elroy, and I have read other books by him. You may have heard of City of Lies. That was quite a big book, and it was quite a big book when it came out, and I quite liked it, but I didn't love it, and so I don't know really why I've kept it. I should have got rid of it ages ago. David Malouf, Remembering Babylon. I don't think this is mine. I think this is the husband's, and I said to him, can I get rid of it? And he went, yeah. The Reader by Bernard Schlink. God, did you read this? This was such a big thing at one point, and I think I read it before the Oprah Winfrey thing. So Oprah Winfrey's book club read it, and of course it was huge, but I'd actually read it beforehand. So it is, and there was a film, wasn't there, with Kate Winslet, being Kate Winslet in it. Love her, but she's always Kate Winslet. Various, it's kind of like, you never go, oh, I never recognised that was Kate Winslet, do you? You always go, oh, it's Kate Winslet. Extraordinary Novel is a compelling mediation on the connections between Germany's past and its present. Dramatised with extreme emotional intelligence, the story of a relationship between the narrator and an older woman. It was profound, and I remember reading it and thinking it was fabulous. I ain't never going to reread it, and I'm like, nah. When I look at it now, I go, that was them. I'm not going to read it now. The Island by Victoria Hislop, about leper colony. Just wonderful. Really enjoyed it. Fabulous book. About Crete, about a Cretan village, and it's just heartbreaking and wonderful at the same time. I'm never going to reread it, but I enjoyed it at the time. Oh, here is a series of YA books. Star-Crossed, and then Dreamless, and then Goddess by Josephine Angelini. I got this from a charity bookshop. I got this selection from a charity bookshop. I read them. I really enjoyed them. I'm not going to reread them again. So it is time for somebody else to enjoy those. Talking about kind of YA, kind of paranormal romance, Fallen by Lauren Kate. I've had this on my shelf, and I have not read any other Lauren Kate. I read it. I enjoyed it. It's time for somebody else to read it and enjoy it. I found this on my shelf, and I don't know why it was there. The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I have the Twilight saga, it says there, the Twilight series, which is just over there, and I'm not getting rid of the Twilight series because it's still, I enjoy it. I mean, it's not literary fiction, but it's, you've got to give it had something about it, didn't it? And I think that was the first time I really realised how much how much I can see the postman coming towards my door. Has he got a parcel? Oh no, just a letter. It's a different postman, but hello postman. It was the first time I realised how much teenage girl fiction, when teenage girls really love something, everybody goes against it. It's just like, oh well, it's not suitable for, and the films in particular. God, the films. I'm struggling with that, but we've got the letters through. The films got absolutely hammered, and I think it was partly because it wasn't meant for adults. It was meant for teenage girls, and they really loved it, and the audience loved it. And anyway, I'm rambling. So, The Host by Stephanie Meyer. Never read it. Not going to read it. Let's go on. One Day by David Nichols. 20 years. Two people. I never really liked the conceit of this book, so that was a problem from the start. Literary fiction. Not really literary fiction, just fiction. The Skeleton Crew by Deborah How Amateur Sleuths Are Solving America's Cold Cases. I don't think this was written very well. I think there was a very, very good book in here. There's a very, very good book around this. I don't think this is it. So, non-fiction, I'm getting rid of that. Elizabeth Gilbert, The Signature of All Things. University heralded as a marvellous book. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it from the first page until the end page. And I read all of it because we read it for book club. And other people in the book club really loved it. I did not. End of. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the way she wrote it. I just didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like it. How much did I not like it? I really didn't like it. I was like, why have I still got that book there? I don't like it. The Witch's Daughter by Paula Braxton. I kind of got into this at the end, and other people have said to me that the series is good as it carries on, but I'm probably not going to carry on with it. And I did enjoy it, but I think it's time for it to roam free and somebody else to like it. The Watchers by Neil Spring. I bought this, and then the husband said, oh, can I read it? And he read it, and then when he told me about it, I thought, I'm never going to read that. And he said it wasn't that great, so not going to read that, so that can go. I bought this at the same time, The Midnight Queen by Sylvia Hunter. This is book 1 of the Midnight Queen trilogy. Paranormal fiction about kind of magic. Yeah. It was fine. I read it and didn't love it. I'm not going to continue with the series. I really wish I did like it because I really like that cover a lot, but I didn't, so that can go. Ooh, this is a biggie. Literally a biggie. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. So I bought this when it came out. This was one of my hardbacks by myself thing. And it is a chunky one. Let's be honest. How many pages? Oh, she lives in Cambridge. Well, fancy that. I don't know whether she still does. 782 pages. And it is good. Well, I think it's got a bit self-indulgent at times. I don't think it needed to be this big, to be honest. And I think I had real problems with the pacing of it. Let me put it that side so I'm not in the shade. So I had real problems with the pacing of this. I found it far too slow for a book this big, and it needed to have grabbed me an awful lot more. So I didn't love it. And I kind of was keeping it because it's one of those books that people say, have you read? And I kind of was keeping it so I could say, yes, it's there, you know. And then I was like, why are you keeping it? You didn't love it. And somebody else can have the joy of owning that big black hardback. The Ashes of London by Andrew Taylor. I read this. It is about 1666. And I did enjoy the stuff about the Great Fire of London. And it really brought that to life. I find him a cold author. I just can't get on with Andrew Taylor. And I'm hoping that I now remember that he's not the author for me. Some people absolutely love him, but I mean, I read it and I read it quite happily, but I'm not going to reread it. And I just thought, move on. This is an old one. The Tales of Murasaki by Lisa Dolby. Now, Memoirs of a Geisha, which is actually just over there, I loved. Who's that by? I can't see who it's by. Oh, can I see? No, I can't see. So Memoirs of a Geisha, I read that and my mum read it and we both just wanted more things like that. And so I bought this one, The Tale of Murasaki, and she bought another one. I can't remember what it was. And so we both read them and then swapped them and then gave them back. And it's very good. So it's a geisha book, Japanese Imperial Court. And I did enjoy it for that. But I'm not going to reread it. And it can move on. It can go on. Kazuo Ishiguro, The Remains of the Day. It's a book that I always should read. I know the story. I really enjoyed Never Let Me Go. And I kind of feel like I should read this, but I'm holding it on because I feel like I should read it. And the husband feels exactly the same. And we both go, oh, we should read that. And then we both go, we're not going to read it. So let's move that on. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. I didn't enjoy it. I read it for book club. Nope, not my kind of thing. Other people adore it. That's grand. You read it, you adore it. Not my kind of thing. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Dewar. There we are. Much feted, winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 2015. Yeah, it was fine. Other people in book club, I read it for book club again. Other people read it and loved it and loved the poetry of it and loved how it made them feel and the journey that they went on with it and there was lots of this kind of descriptions of it, and I don't doubt them for a second that that's what they felt. I couldn't get past the fact it flicked from one person to another to one person. It's told in by two different voices and you flick between the two, and that's the device that's used. It's a wartime novel set in Paris and then where is it? Somewhere else. Anyway, but I couldn't, and I think that's possibly because I read quickly. It was flicking too much, and so I never felt like I settled with either voice. Whereas other people were talking about the beauty and the majesty, I was just saying it just really irritated me. So I've kept it because it was a book club book, and then I've just thought, no, I'm getting rid of some of my book club books that I've not enjoyed. The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. I read this years ago. Must be, I think it's 11 years ago now, actually, thinking about it. And I read it in Portugal when we went on holiday there. We went on holiday to Portugal in October time because we were going to go surfing, and on the east coast of Portugal. Some really good surf there, and we went there for 3 weeks and we paid for our stuff to go over and everything like that, and we had the most appalling weather. And the sea was like a washing machine every day. So it only just rained. And so we did a lot of reading on that holiday. And I read The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. And it's a thoroughly good book. It's a kind of a spirited update of Bram Stoker's classic. And it's very good and very fun and very enjoyable. I'm not going to read it again. So got good memories of it though. This is a book I haven't read actually. Meg Wollitzer's The Interestings. I bought it when I went on a charity bookshop crawl and I had to go somewhere else, and I kind of thought I should read it, and really I'm not going to read it. I've got so many other books up there that I want to read. I'm not going to get around to this, and I kind of my eyes flick over that one. I just thought nah. And then the last book I have here is An Apple a Day by Emma Wolfe, Memory of Love and Recovery from Anorexia. So I really like Emma Wolfe's writing. She used to do a column in a newspaper which I used to read every week, and it was anonymous, and then it came out that it was her. And so this is giving more of the backstory of the column and everything like that, about being a recovering anorexic and that kind of stuff. And she's very well connected, and she has quite a fascinating life. And it's how she hid it. I don't think she did hide it, to be honest. I think everybody was looking at her thinking, crikey, you are very unwell. But it's a fascinating look at anorexia and how somebody's turning their life around and what caused her to want to confront her illness and that kind of stuff. So it was a very fascinating book. I'm not going to reread it, so it can go to somebody else. So there we go. That's an example of the kind of books that I have been getting rid of recently. And it's been very therapeutic, actually, just clearing through. And I don't suppose that these will be the last ones. I'm going to carry on, in the next couple of months, just keep on checking. The books that I'm keeping are books I either really passionately want to keep. I think that's what I want. I want to be passionate about the books I'm keeping and think, yeah, I really want to keep that. I want that in my home with me. And there we go, people. So I hope there's something in there that you thought, oh no, I didn't like that either. No, I'm not. I'm hoping that maybe you kind of agree with some of my decisions or not. It'd be lovely to hear whatever. And I look forward to seeing you again sometime. Bye.